English teacher friends. Kristian Kuhn coming at you again, affectionately known as the Bob Ross of composition. And I got video number 2 in this series of the art of styling sentences. Video 1 featured patterns 1 through 5. In video 2, voila, we got patterns 6 through 10. Before I dive in, please subscribe to the channel and sprinkle some love on that like button. And tell your friends, your colleagues, your students far and wide about Kristian Kuhn, the Bob Ross of composition. So let me tell you the impetus behind this here and kind of how I structure it in my classroom. Early in the academic year, I equipped my students with a fantastic text called Strunk White, Write It Right. And it's a fantastic manual to kind of shore up the basics of grammar, punctuation, syntax. But as you go through it, you plug down to something called rule number 18. And rule number 18, Strunk and White make the assertion that there's 12 sentence types. What does that mean? Basically, there's 12 different ways to cobble together a sentence. And one of the things I know over my long career is that when students come to me in the fall and they are a struggling, emerging writer, they typically over-rely on independent clauses and short, simple declarative sentences. So when I read their essay, it has that droning rhythm of dot, 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 dot. And I got to break them of that. You know, one of the things that I teach in my Nuance Academy is how to cultivate better voice, rhythm, and flow. So Strunk and White make the assertion that you have those 12 sentence types, but there's a kicker to that. You can go above and beyond that and pattern those 12 types 20 different ways. So what we're going to do in this video is tackle patterns 6 through 10. And as I already said, I made video number 1. 1 through 5 is done. You can get into the YouTube channel. And I'll make the 2 remaining videos in the coming days. So to make your life easy, in the link below, if you go into the description of the video, I've provided a copy of Strunk and White's the Write It Right. And I also have all the slides featured in this video that you're going to see here, all of the slides available. So what I did, so each pattern, I Etch-A-Sketch it 5 times. So the student can see the pattern 5 times, and then they try their hand at it. So that's available in the download. All the patterns are demystified. In terms of where I'm garnering these ideas, there are a couple of books out there that go over the art of styling sentences and the 20 sentence patterns. And I'm using as a frame of reference Anne Longknife's and Katie Sullivan's book called The Art of Styling Sentences. So my students have copies of this. It's something our district bought. You don't need to buy it. It's not necessary. I think you can just roll with my slides here and be good to go. As always, at the beginning of my videos, I always say this, you got to Bob Ross your instruction. So in this, I'm going to provide plenty of exemplars and models. As I said, I'm going to model each pattern 5 times. And it's one of the things that Bob Ross did very well. He always got to the easel and canvas and showed us how to tackle whatever natural landscape was at hand. And if you're familiar with my work, I take this Bob Ross approach for the teaching at composition as well, and always use heuristics, but I'll say more about that on another day. All right, let's jump in. Follow my lead, monkey see, monkey do. And again, this is a fantastic way to get kids to cultivate their voice, rhythm, and flow. So without further ado, let's jump in and take a look at pattern number 6. It's kind of a difficult one, so I'll unpack it for you. So by definition, pattern number 6 says, an introductory series of appositives with a dash and a summarizing subject. And then I unpacked it a little bit more for you here. So the key summarizing word before the subject may be one of these: such, all, those, this, many, each, which, what, these, something, someone. All right, that's very confusing, right? And one of the things I do in Strunk White is unpack all the jargon and the verbiage that kids might not be familiar with. So typically at the beginning of the year, my students don't know what an appositive is. And surprisingly, some of my kids don't even know what a subject is. So I got to start kind of basic. So let's unpack this and take a look at some exemplars. So here's number one. The robins, the chickadees, even the skunks all welcome the arrival of spring with a soulful song of praise. So let's break down this pattern here. So usually I call it duo, trio, quadruple. So you can see I trioed here in terms of robins, chickadees, skunks. And when you insert the transition there, like even, you got to use a dash. So the robins, comma, the chickadees, dash, even the skunks, dash, all welcome the arrival of spring with a soulful song of praise. Number two is going to follow the exact same pattern. Double dash, get that transition in there. Baseball cards, vintage video games, stamps. Which should he collect? So you can see there I'm using one of the magic words in that first Etch-A-Sketch slide. Which? So here's number three. Paddleboarding, beachfront rental property, sun-filled skies. These mean summer vacation to me. So again, I trioed and just used the dash to get out of there and transitioned with these. Number four, dorks, nerds, geeks. Again, a trio. Use the word each after the dash. Are the stereotypical protagonist in any Russ Weinhart short film. And the last one, again, pattern, pattern, pattern. Number five follows the same pattern. The Strong Museum of Play, Dinosaur Barbecue, High Falls. Many of the wonderful sights of my hometown, Rochester, New York. So, what I do after showing the kids 5 times is I say, give it a try. Try your hand at 5. Just follow my patterns, follow my lead, and try pattern number 6 5 times, all on your lonesomes. Uh, to make this video kind of brief and condensed, I'll just show you one more pattern and then I'll walk through the other ones really quickly. Otherwise, this is going to be like a 90-minute video if I go over all 5 for each pattern. So here's pattern number 7. An internal series of appositives or modifiers enclosed by a pair of dashes or parentheses. All right, let's try our hand at this. Follow my lead. Here is number 1. The students learned how to become compositional wizards, sentence constructs, mastery of grammatical basics, cogency, by carefully following their teacher's lead. So this is basically a parenthetical enclosed by 2 dashes there, right? So you're qualifying, you're explaining mid-sentence. And again, students typically will do a trio in between the dashes. Sometimes it's a duo, sometimes it's a quadruple. But typically we go the trio route. Here's number 2. The SAT test hack codes, pattern repetition, process of elimination, eliminating the lead distractor can be learned by almost everyone. So it's option there. So you can use the physical parenthesis or the dash. And again, you can see in the middle of the parentheses, I'm doing a trio. Number 3, on our field trip to the zoo, the major attractions, the man-eating python, the cuddly panda, the tottering penguins, did not come out of their hiding places to greet us. So again, it does not matter when you add those asides, those parentheticals, if you sandwich it between the double dash or the physical parentheses. Number 4, many of the classic video games I played as a kid, Pac-Man, Frogger, Donkey Kong, Space Invaders, so I quadrupled there, take me back to an easier, innocent time of my life. So you can even add further punctuation in your clauses there, and you can see that I did a duo, easier, innocent, so needed to drop the comma there. So just all the grammatical basics that kids have learned from Strunk White with our Nuance Academy exercises. Number 5, the much dreaded things of adulting, paying taxes, covering the mortgage each month, grocery shopping every Sunday. So you got a trio there. I'm qualifying, double dash. Are all things you'll inevitably find yourself doing, comma, like it or not. So you can do patterns within patterns too, which is really cool. And then just follow my lead. Try your hand at it 5 times. So let's do these other ones real quick. There is a pattern 7A, and it's just a variation, a single, a positive, or a pair. I'll give you one example here just to give you a sense. That aroma, and look, you're not duoing, you're not trioing, you're not quadrupling, it's just one. That aroma, homemade Italian tomato sauce, reminded me of all those Sundays spent cooking with my grandma. And then if you download the slides, you can see there you got 2, 3, 4, 5. They're all there for you. Pattern number 8, dependent clauses in a pair or a series. I'll just show you the first one here. Because it is without question tedious, because it is also a ginormous headache, because it presents endless governmental red tape, I procrastinate each year when it comes time to file my taxes. And again, you have example 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then kids will try it 5 times. And you just go through this, right? Pattern number 9, repetition of a key term. Use dash or comma before repetition. I'll just give you the first one. The sailors drank to drown their sorrows, a sorrow that ran as deep as the ocean. So you can see there the repetition of sorrow. I'll show you number 2 just to show you a little more here. Math class is wicked boring. Boring in subject, boring also in delivery. So just repetition, some parallelism, and you got 3, 4, 5 there. Try your hand at it 5 times. And there is pattern 9A as well. A variation, so the same word repeated in parallel structure. Let's see one example. He has an incredibly rewarding life, rewarding because of his faith in God and rewarding for his endless service to the community. So you can see there the word rewarding is paralleled in that. And then you have 2, 3, 4, 5. Try your hand at it 5 times. Pattern number 10, pretty easy. Emphatic appositive at the end after a colon. So clearly, in terms of unpacking this, students need to know what an appositive is. And then early in the academic year, I do all the grammar, punctuation, syntax so that my students know how to use dashes and colons and semicolons and commas. Basically just teach the difference between a dependent and an independent clause, and then the rules for those syntactical features. So just to give you one example here. Her room belied the fact that she is a Swiftie, colon, because you're going to list it here. Red guitar in the corner, every album cover on the wall, even a life-size cutout doll of Travis Kelce. So I talk to my students a lot in these patterns. You got to duo, trio, quadruple, and work through things that way. And ultimately, this transfers over into their writing. And again, you got 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, the kicker here. Go slow, give examples. And I guess I should have said this earlier on. I don't do all 5 patterns in one class. So I teach in a block schedule. We have 86 minutes per block. And I usually just do a pattern a day, kind of as a bell ringer, and then move on to other things. Otherwise, it gets super tedious. So just one a day. All right. If you need to reach me for any reason, drop me an email at teachingwritingcoach@gmail.com. I'm kind of like, I study guitar. I'm kind of a novice guitarist, and I'm always giving the YouTube lesson instructors suggestions for songs. And I'm like, hey, teachers, give me suggestions for things that you want to see in my YouTube channel. If there's anything you want me to tackle, put in a request, and I will see if I can get my head around it. Also note that I have a web page called www.teachinghowtowrite.com. So I'm going to be doing some professional development over the coming months. And as a lead teacher for the National Writing Project, presenter for NCTE, I do presentations and webinars for applied practice, perfection learning, even the College Board from time to time. One of the main points of feedback that I've received in the years that I've been doing this is this. Kristian, love your classes, love your PDs, but man, oh man, do I wish I could get you one-on-one just for a few hours to shore up my teaching. So I'm like, cool, let's do it. So in the past with NWP, I've run the Teach It Right 5-week mastermind. And usually we got like, I don't know, anywhere from like 15 to 20 teachers in there. And that's the one comment. I want something tailor-made, custom-made to my teaching, my district, my kids. So I'm offering the Teach It Right 5-week one-to-one mentorship. So if you'd like to work together and get you through my Word Study Academy, my Nuance Academy, take a look at how my heuristics can be used for a writing program specifically for your needs. I've taught AP Lang and AP Lit for over 2 decades, run the gamut from 9-12 to doing Regents classes in New York to even credit recovery, summer school, AIS services. I've done the whole thing. So I can meet you where you're at, and we can cobble something together that's super specific to your needs and wants. So just drop me an email about that, and my website has more information. The other thing teachers have said is, Kristian, would love to take courses with you, but I ain't got the time. Teacher life is busy. So I made a wonderful self-paced course. It's packed to the gills with good stuff. So it's a 10-video course, walks you through the Word Study Academy, the Nuance Academy, all the heuristics. It's got videos for all the FRQs for Lang and Lit. Goes through all the expository modes, even offers up some of my alternative grading methods in there as well. So if you just want to go at your own pace when you're free, check that out. And again, reach out if you have any questions. And then the last one, I'm doing my alternative grading methods in a one-on-one format. So I do a lot of these webinars with teachers through Perfection Learning and NWP. And again, teachers say my grading needs are so specific, and my course load in terms of my curriculum map and how I have to pace is very specific. So can we go one-on-one with this? So we're just going to do a 2-hour intensive one-on-one, and hopefully we can get you to reclaim your evenings and weekends, because the traditional grading paradigm is for the birds. We don't need to do that anymore. So it's kind of antiquated, and I think a lot of teachers and districts are getting away from that. So reach out to teachingwritingcoach@gmail.com or my website, www.teachinghowtowrite.com. All right, I'm signing off. I'll follow up with video 3 and video 4 for the sentence patterns, and I'll keep things rolling in the days, weeks, months,